we are providing the service to the community, and that's what we're focusing on. It's not about how the community can help us. This is about how we are transforming the community, and we're changing the culture of how people think of individuals with IDD. We're an asset. We're not a liability, and we are making strides and changes. And our Panthers love when they get to go out and volunteer.
Jake, welcome to Grow Healthy, Help People, the podcast that Accordis, our company, puts out. I'm excited about hearing your story and hearing more about Primrose Center. Where are you calling in from today?
Orlando, Florida.
Orlando, Florida. Is Orlando home for all of your life, or are you relatively new to the area?
I have been here since 1992. So originally hail from Northeast Ohio, from Kent State University. So yes, I am a flasher.
There you go. That's great. So before we dive into Primrose Center specifically, you mentioned to me earlier that you've been in the nonprofit space for a long time, which is great. Some people are that we interview are just starting out with a nonprofit. They're 1 year in. They've been doing other things and they're just figuring this out. It's also really great to talk to seasoned nonprofit leaders like you, because you've been around for, I think you said a couple of decades, right? Leading nonprofits.
Yeah. So I've been leading nonprofits for about 35 years, multiple different industries. I've spent the majority of the time in animal welfare industries, from the Orlando Humane Society, SPCA of Central Florida, Cincinnati SPCA.
Okay.
But I've also Chief Philanthropy Officer for the Orlando Museum of Art, and now I'm at Primrose Center.
That's great. So give me a little bit of your coming out of college, I'm guessing, looking at the different career options and choosing nonprofit or in that world. How did you get your first job in the nonprofit space? What prompted you to go that direction?
What prompted it was I graduated with a studio art degree in animation. And I did an internship at Walt Disney World, hence how I wound up in Orlando, Florida.
Okay.
And then this little company, no one ever heard of them before, came out, put us all out of business. They were called Pixar.
Yeah, I was about to say, I bet it's Pixar.
So I had to figure out something. And I started working at Heart of Florida United Way. And I fell in love with it.
Okay.
As someone who was classically trained as an artist, this is an opportunity to be creative, to develop programs, to really use nonprofit as my new medium.
Okay.
And I dove right in. I went and got my MBA in management. I did a whole bunch of extra, postgraduate work, and I've just embraced it. And that's been my whole career, essentially, is understanding the nuances of the craft of running a nonprofit.
That's great. 35 years is quite a length of time to hone that craft. You've got a lot of lessons that you can help people not have to learn on their own, but you can say, hey, here's what I did. Don't do that. Learn this lesson.
Exactly. And to that point, I'm going to do a little self-serving here. I wrote a book called Would You Consider? And It's a fundraiser's guidebook, and it truly is, and that's what it says right at the very beginning, is I wish I had this book when I first started. Because it really teaches the fundamentals of philanthropy, fundraising, what it's not, which it's not sales, but also more importantly, it's about relationship building, and it's about fostering those relationships. And the biggest problem that we've discovered within the industry is many people get into fundraising, and then usually within 36 months they leave because they feel like they're a fraud or they haven't succeeded. Yeah. Everybody goes through that, and as soon as they realize, oh, this is the life cycle of it, you got to get through this, then it'll get better.
Yeah. So where could someone find that book?
I believe right now it's on Amazon.
Okay.
So it's Would You Consider? A Fundraiser's Guidebook by Jake White.
Awesome. Okay, so if you're interested in that and you're in this space, that's a great resource for you. And so you went through various organizations and learned a lot along the way. And what attracted you to Primrose Center? What was the step to get involved in Primrose Center?
So back in 1993, I was on the Citizens Review panel through City of Orlando and started to really understand the IDD world. And that's the intellectual and developmentally disabled world.
Okay. And
because that was a part of the grants I had to review. And this was just volunteer work.
Okay.
A friend of mine, Katie Porte, God rest her soul, she was running Quest at that time. We'd get together on Fridays at happy hour several of us, and she would just go through questions and problems that she was having at Quest. And we would sit around and talk about it and problem solve and come up with creative solutions and ways to be able to get around. So I've been privy to all this information for a very long time, but it was all volunteer. So when this position opened up, it was like coming home. I already knew about the organization. I knew the history of the organization, and surrounded us with individuals that are like that. For instance, our board chair right now, she actually used to volunteer here when she was at UCF. She's retired from Siemens Power Generation, but she actually was a volunteer here when she was going to UCF.
That's really neat. So tell us, give us a flyover. What does Primrose Center do in the IDD space? Like, what is your mission, and what are some of your programs?
So we work with adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Okay.
We offer adult day training, transportation, affordable group homes, and supportive employment.
Okay. And so the programs are those things you just mentioned. I noticed on your website there's a lot of like RFPs or requests for, big construction projects, and also one of your staff members is over facility or assets or something like that. So you guys have a number of properties in the Orlando area, right?
We do. So we have a main campus in south of downtown. Okay. So the Soto area, we have our main campus. We have 10 rather large buildings where we hold the majority of our adult day training, healthcare, supportive employment, life skills training. And then in the surrounding area, we have 5 affordable group homes. And we are the most affordable group home in Central Florida when it comes to working with adults with intellectual and developmental disabilities.
Yeah.
And for about a decade, the organization was fairly dormant and
operating but not growing. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes. Yeah. Kind of retrenched a little bit on a bunch of, especially COVID hit really hard.
Yeah.
Then I came on because I'm all about growth. We need to excel. We need to improve. We need to get funding. So it's hard pressed to all the different funders within the Central Florida area, and a lot of construction. So bringing everything up to where it needs to be, because our Panthers, I call them Panthers because that's our team name, because we do Special Olympics, and so our team name, we're the Panthers. All of our Panthers, we really talk about dignity. We talk about the importance of purpose of life. We talk about, what is your passion in life? How can we help you get there? Because a lot of those passions could be anything from they want to get married, want to get girlfriends, want to live independently, want a job. Some of them are pretty basic, like they just want a free cup of coffee every morning. Whatever that passion is, we want to pursue that and work. So we don't have one curriculum for all of our Panthers. Each one of our Panthers has an individual curriculum catered specifically for their growth and their needs.
How neat. It is not a one-size-fits-all. It's
a
one-size-fits-all.
Not even close. Well, and when you look at IDD, there is not one-size-fits-all, because you have everything from autism to Down syndrome to spinal bifida to cerebral palsy to Prader-Willi to Fragile X. Every one of these has their own specific skill sets that we really need to hone. And to go about it, each one is very individualized.
So give me an idea of the scope and scale of who you're serving today, maybe some numbers and kind of some of the impact numbers.
So on a daily basis, we have about 300 people that are here on campus, and everything from we've got dozens of individuals that we work with supportive employment, so they're going out and working at places like Five Guys, which is fantastic because specifically I'm going to talk about one individual who has extreme OCD, is a prep cook, makes everything exactly the way it should be, and then cleans before he leaves. And because he is so thorough because of his OCD, they haven't had a health violation since he started there.
He's like a superpower for them.
Oh yeah, very much. And thank you. That's exactly what it is. That's his superpower.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. Blair, one of our Panthers, came up to me earlier this week and said, he asked me some questions 2 years ago when I started, and he came up to me and says, "Mr. Jake, just want to remind you, your anniversary is this Saturday and it's 28 years. I went, thank you. because he asked about my wife and what her birthday was, and so he reminds me. But he wanted to know when my anniversary was, and I told him when we got married. And so he just remembers everything that he hears. So he wanted to remind me and told me I needed to go buy a gift. And I said, I will, thank you.
How cool is that, Jake? Because all it is, as the world may say, a disability, but you and your staff are able to guide forget disability, you're able to guide the skills and the wiring that they have to most benefit the community, most benefit them. Let's get them into a spot where they can really thrive to the highest possible potential they have.
That's exactly what it is. Because it's not about us asking for the community for resources. We want to be the resource for the community, be it through employment where we find people that have skill sets where they can fold laundry, either tri-fold, quad-fold, or roll-fold, depending on like Marriott, Hilton, or Hyatt, or be able to work at restaurants. But we also look at how are we benefiting the community by volunteering at Clean the World, Second Harvest Food Bank, Meals on Wheels, Mustard Seed, different thrift stores. We are providing service to the community, and that's what we're focusing on. It's not about how the community can help us. This is about how we are transforming the community, and we're changing the culture of how people think of individuals with IDD. We're an asset. We're not a liability, and we are making strides and changes. And our Panthers love when they get to go out and volunteer. They also love when like Clean the World brings tubs that need to be all assembled and everything here, because they have that wonderful sense of accomplishment when they've done more than what they did last week. And that really leads to their self-confidence. It helps with generating serotonin and dopamine levels, which reduce behavioral issues and pain meds. And it's fascinating that the simple act of volunteering and building your community has such these wonderful benefits for our Panthers, and we need to foster that.
That's amazing. You have 300 adults there in your programs on a daily basis. How many of those are in your residential program?
So our residential program, we have 5 group homes. Right now we're about 50 individuals. I think it's just a little less. It's like 48 or so. And again, very different skill sets. We have some that are reliant on wheelchairs or walkers. We have one house where every night they ride their bikes up and down the driveway. It's a long concrete driveway. We have some that they are cat care managers for a feral cat colony in their neighborhood, and they take care of them, and then they save all their money all year long because they like to go on cruises. And they just recently came back from Royal Caribbean Cruise Line's Utopia of the Seas, where they went for a long weekend and had a great time. And so they look forward to that every year.
And some of your staff would accompany them on the cruise, or family members would accompany them?
Yeah,
sure. Yeah. But how neat, because that is life-changing compared to, hey, we're just going to settle in and be here for the rest of our lives. Like, let's work towards something. Let's accomplish something. Let's go see the world.
Yeah, and that's a big thing, too. It's life. Everybody should be able to have this. I'll be honest, some of our residents have a more fruitful social life experience than I do. We have one group, they go out every weekend. They go down to Kissimmee, which is just south of Orlando, to Old Town because they have old car shows. And they love going there to see all the old cars. There's several of them that they remember everything that they read, so they read the old Chilton's auto manuals.
Okay.
And so they'll go and they'll talk, and they're the resource guide for some of these car owners that are going, I'm having issues with the timing, and they're like, oh, yeah, it's supposed to be like 10 clicks past tap center or whatever. And they explain this to the car owners who's writing it all down going, I will change. So they go back next week to see how that improvement on that vehicle. Yeah. And they've got this whole social network set up. More importantly, within our organization, we really want to be that spearhead of all these changes. So we've started doing every Friday afternoon, we have a dance party where Chris, who's high functioning Down syndrome, is our DJ. We've got all the music, everybody's dancing, having a great time. Once a month we do outdoor events where it's either movies in the park, like The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, or Elf, and we invite everybody in the IDD world to come over for free to have fun. We do dances, we do karaoke, we do bingo, because yes, it's fun, and yes, it's giving that spice of life.
Yeah.
But then you look at it clinically, we're teaching social skills. We're getting individuals that are seeing each other multiple times, and it's not learning about how to become friends, but how to stay friends and how to nurture those relationships along and grow as friends, which sometimes they gotta hold their hand a little bit. But what a fantastic way to be able to grow this network of individuals into friendships.
I love that. So every organization has to have revenue. And I think you probably earn revenue through the residential programs, and there's other ways you earn revenue. So in the nonprofit space, there's donations, there's grants, there's also earned revenue. So you probably earn some revenue, but also have donations. Give us an idea of kind of how you're able to help and see the funding come in to run all these great programs.
I run probably the leanest ship in the Navy.
Okay.
I am currently working on our next fiscal year's budget, and we are looking at a profit of about $9,000 on a $4.5 million budget.
Okay.
It is lean. We trim everything down that we don't need, because first of all, I really want to make sure that more than 90 cents, about 92 cents of every dollar is paid for direct support. We really don't have any waste here whatsoever.
Okay.
Which allows all of our funders, be it through Orange County, City of Orlando, private grant makers, they know I will squeeze every penny as tight as I can to get as much out of it as we can, because I want to be a good steward of their funds. Yeah. So when individuals do donations as well, they can trust the fact that I'm spending as much money as I can for direct support and doing it effectively. Yeah. I'm way too frugal to allow any waste to happen. My wife calls me cheap. I say I'm thrifty, sometimes frugal, but definitely a lean operation. And a lot does come from, yes, of course, through the Med Waiver program, working with Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, and that provides for the overhead for classes, for training, for affordable housing. We could probably double what we charge for affordable housing, and I won't do it. It needs to be affordable housing, because I want to make sure that there's money left over so they can do stuff and have the spice of life and have enjoyable things that they can look forward to in the future, because everybody, I don't care what their abilities are, everybody needs to be able to have that inspiration in life, that carrot that's out there that they're going towards and achieving sooner or later, because that's what makes life worth living. That's what makes it fun.
It's easy and fun to talk about the things that are going great. What are some things that are not going great? Things that are hard. Things that you might lose sleep over, thinking, man, this is just a mountain we've got to climb and we've got to figure this out.
So when I first started, we discovered soon after I began looking at the finances and doing forecasting out that financially it was not on the right track.
Okay.
So let me back this up. On my very first day, I received a subpoena because of a lawsuit for a construction process that happened 3 years before me.
Oh, goodness.
The second day, I received a fine from the IRS government for $65,000 for something that happened 2 years prior in a form that wasn't filed appropriately.
Goodness.
And then looking at finances going, we're going to go bankrupt in a couple months.
Welcome to the job.
Most people would turn tail and run.
Yeah.
That's not me. I went, now this got interesting. Yeah. How do we get out of this? This is that art degree that people are like, oh, you have an art degree? Being creative. How can we get out of this? What can we change? How can we dig in? Let's look at this from different points of view. That got fun. It was stressful. I didn't sleep a lot. I lost more hair than what I did before I started. And it got grayer too. But how exciting is that? And being able to work with our board and then have new board members come in with better ideas and ways to be able to manage our finances better and do all this growth. That's exciting. Why would someone turn their back on that and go, oh, it's too hard? That's what makes it fun. That's what makes it interesting. And it's not that I'm uber competitive. It's just I can't do a doldrums job. And so going into an organization like this and creating new programs, and when I say let me be extremely clear. It is my team.
Yeah.
Anything bad happens, it's my fault because I couldn't forecast it. Anything good happens, it's because I have phenomenal team members. Anything spectacular happens, specifically, here's the team member that made it happen. I accept the fact that sometimes failure is just a data point, but let's learn from it. And just not learn from it, but let's everybody learn from it. It's not that we're trying to shame anybody. It's let's learn and evolve as a group, and we're going to get better at what we do. And especially when you take a look at the IDD world, our generations are getting older. So we're dealing with geriatrics and senior citizens that have IDD that we've never had before. What do we do for housing? What do we do for programming? They're not allowed to, quote unquote, retire because they're disabled, but they should have the same dignity as others when, like Poppy, he's 83. He doesn't want to get up and hang out with 22-year-olds at ADT. He wants to watch butterflies. And he's 83. He should be allowed to. We need to be able to be the spearhead and go forth and try to figure out what are the best programs for him. Because there will be others that are like him, but we need to do that for each one of our Panthers. And right now we're about 7 individuals that fall into the senior geriatric category.
Really?
So we really need to focus and hunker down and figure out what is best for them, not the organization, because we'll figure that out. Yeah. But what's best for them, because that's what's important. And that's where, and thankfully my board gets it. That's where our interest needs to be. The focus needs to be on our mission, which is helping them live the best life possible, regardless of the age, regardless of the skill sets. But again, those challenges make it
fun.
Wonderful opportunities for everybody to grow and evolve.
Yeah. One thing I could almost add to what you were saying earlier, the challenges are worth conquering because the mission is worth accomplishing.
Oh, amen.
You believe in what you're doing and you see it, and it is too important to say, lawsuit from 3 years ago, I'm out. It's too important. Let's figure this out. Let's navigate this. Let's get with the IRS. Let's get the 990 penalties relieved or whatever they were. Now let's move on and accomplish the mission.
Yeah, and a lot of that is patience. You put in the time. You know it's going to solve. Sooner or later, they're all going to, everything pans out. But you have to grow spherically. And that is just, those are one or two little rays coming off of that Venn diagram of all the different stressors that are out there. They're very small portions.
Yeah.
I'll be honest, I walk through our campus once or twice a day just to get hugs. Yeah. I mean, talk about that. That is one of the best benefits to working here is going and getting hugs from people that truly are so enthusiastic and joyful to see you.
Yeah.
And I'm going to talk about one individual. She's got cerebral palsy. She was considered non-communicative. And I met her. I'm like, she communicates. Well, I walk in, she lights up. She's communicating. We need to figure this out. So we started working, and originally, so we have 3 fingers that we worked with her. So it's, how you doing today? And she does a thumb, and we'll touch thumbs. And go, psst. And it's like, she's doing good. Or she's hungry or tired or uncomfortable. So we're working on this. Well, what's the next step? So we do realize, and we got her recategorized as someone who has that ability to be able to communicate. So what's the next step? So now we're looking at foundations, like the ARIS Foundation, to be able to supply technology and working with organizations for communication so we can develop a screen so that it's customized for her where she can tap on very specific items to communicate how she feels and what she needs and what she wants. And that's just 1 out of 300 that we're working on different ways for them to be able to grow and prosper and live a purposeful life.
Yeah. That's great. So if you're a nonprofit leader like Jake and you say, the mission is great, I love the mission, the office work is bogging me down. Accordis, our company, we're a back office for great nonprofits. So accounting, database marketing, communicating, telling the story, helping people think of fundraising strategies and having the right image of your organization. We can help with that. Jake, it's been really fun talking with you today. One last question. What is your desired future 5 years from now for Primrose Center?
Wow, that is a whole long form podcast for me to go down that road.
Okay, give me the 2 or 3 bullet points.
Elevator speech. We want to be able to create programming for multiple levels of generations of individuals that can be scalable and scoped and sent across the nation for free for individuals to be able to mirror what we've done in our successes. And let's elevate the industry so that tide raises all boats.
You're on the right path, my friend. So good talking with you today. Thanks for being on the podcast. And we'll link to primrosecenter.org at the end of this podcast, as well as accordis.com, our company. If you're interested in getting involved in Primrose Center and what Jake and his team are doing there, I'm sure there's volunteer opportunities. I'm sure there's also opportunities to donate. So you can reach out to them to that website. Jake, thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.